replace this drama with the peace that is found in the text in Galatians 5. The fruit of the Spirit that's found in our text lets us know how to have a peaceful and productive life. Verse 19, actually, if you go up to verses 19 through 21, before that, Paul talks about a dirty laundry list. I don't have time to deal with that dirty laundry. When you go back before the text and look in the first part of chapter 5, before we start talking about the fruit of the Spirit, it starts talking about the work of the flesh. That's a horrible list. When you have time, I want you to go over that and you read that list. That's the work of the flesh. But in order to nullify the work of the flesh, the Bible says that they are manifest. In verse 19, he said, but the fruit of the Spirit is what? Is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And so the writer informs us how the divine process of justification by faith brings about both freedom and fruit. First of all, he talks about the freedom in the Son. That's chapter 5, verses 1 through 5, talks about the freedom that's in the Son and the protection from the legalism of the legalizers. There were some who come along and try to get people to return back to that old law. They were the legalizers. And the work of Christ, however, has freed us from the bondage of the law. So verse 1 says, stand fast in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free. And then he says, do not be entangled again with the yoke of what? Of bondage. The freedom that is spoken of here is the freedom from the law, which is called a yoke of bondage. Paul says, stand fast, that is to retain your spiritual freedom. The word of Christ someday will free us from the bondage of our bodies, so we ought to live the Christian life waiting to obtain the consummation of our salvation. Then number 2, it gives you protection from the license of the libertines. There's some who were legalistic, but then there were those who were also too liberal. Are you with me? In verses 13 through 15, Paul, having warned the Galatians from the legalistic among them, used this opportunity to explain that the freedom from the law that protected from them from legalism, he now demonstrates it to be a proper antidote against the license to go about and do whatever you want to do. Y'all with me? So in one instance, he's dealing with legalism. Then on the other hand, he's dealing with having too much liberty and using or abusing the grace of God to do whatever it is you want to do, all because you understand that God has given us some grace. Just because we have grace and mercy doesn't mean you're free to do whatever you want to do. Oh, you're not working with me. Grace is not getting what you deserve. But you can misuse and abuse the grace of God. And when you misuse and abuse the grace of God, that's a disgrace. So we've been justified by faith. And it brings freedom, but it also brings about fruit. So peace is one of them. And to properly understand peace, we need to understand where true peace comes from. Brothers and sisters, you don't get peace by shopping at the mall. Now the holiday is over, so to speak, and you while buying stuff for other folk brings about, makes you feel good, that don't bring you peace. Are y'all all right? You can't find peace spending a quiet evening by yourself curled up with a good book and a movie. You can't get rid of trauma by hiding out in your house You know, we often quote the 23rd Psalm. We know it by heart. The Lord is the Lord. We can say that. The Lord is my shepherd. What? I shall. Yeah, you know, he maketh me what? Lie. In what? And he what? He leadeth me beside what? Still waters. But you want to read the 27th Psalm. The 23rd Psalm is a beautiful psalm, but every now and then you ought to turn to the 27th Psalm. In the 27th Psalm, David said, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Then he said, the Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? David starts talking when drama comes into your life. And he says, where his help will come from. In the 10th verse of the 27th Psalm, he said, when my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will do what? That sounds like a lot of drama. When you're having problems with mom and daddy, some folk have been forsaken by their own family. And if that happens, the Lord will take you up. And then he says in verse number 11, he says, teach me thy ways, O Lord, and lead me where? In a plain and simple path, away from the drama. Because of what? My enemies. Then in verse 12, he said, my enemies have created or kept alive drama in my life. False witnesses have risen up against me, he says. If it's not drama, if that's not drama, I don't know what is. Then in verse 13, he said, I would have fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. In other words, if it had not been for God, I don't know what I would have done. The drama would have overtaken me, and David said it's because of God that I've been able to rise above all that. David first expresses his completed confidence in God in verses 1 through 6. On his basis, he then feels free to present his petition from deliverance from all of the drama in his life. That's verses 7 through 12. Finally, he returns full circle to the trust previously stated as the only proper attitude one must have that waits on God to act. He said, I would have given up. He said, I would have quit. I would have thrown in the towel had it not been for the Lord. In 2010, had it not been for God in your life, some of us might have quit. Some of us might have given up. Some of us might have thrown in the towel, but it's because God is in your life that you're able to stand